Let's Talk Life with John Fossey and Mark-Anthony Abel. I'm really excited to have him here. But John, first of all, tell me what is it you do?
I guess I'm a musician, performer, original music, live organizer. Mostly in those sort of fields.
Yeah, so basically John hails from the world of live music promotion, live events, hosting, things like that. And he's obviously an artist, as he just said. But you know what? He's got a great story. And we had a chat. I was at a gig with the Akashic Gods, a friend of mine who actually introduced us together, Joy, Abio. And he was telling me about his life, man. And I was like, you know what? How the hell do we miss? How did I miss you? Because I started off in the live hosting, to survive. A lot of artists used to do that. We put on events for other artists, and I was quite lucky to get the opportunity to run a night called So I Need with a Fellow and Friends in Nottinghil Gate at the Gate Bar. And we put on Joy Bayo and John Fossey.
Yeah.
And they were very, very cool. And you know what? Lo and behold, he tells me that he's been for the last however long?
20 odd years.
20 odd years, putting on events. Unbelievable. So you can imagine the amount of artists he's come across. So I want to talk to him about the artist, I'm talking about his own music, I'm talking about how he got into the industry, and how, more importantly, what was the passion, what was the drive that got him here. But one of the things I'm really curious about is your name, Fossey.
Yeah.
Where did the name Fossey come from?
My parents, no kidding. Fossey came from, look, it's a bit different to Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse is a famous person, did cabaret, did all the choreography. But just like my mum comes from California, America way. My dad comes from England, more Midlands. I brought up in London. But yeah, that sort of thing. So I've kind of got the American-English mix.
Well, it's a beautiful name. It's just like, Nottinghil Gate, you used to come across all these wonderful, posh names. And Fossey just is one of those kind of very posh names, a bit of history or whatever. And I'm like, this guy. And he's a bit of a hippie. So, and more important, he is, which is cool. It's all, believe it or not, I used to be called the ball of the hippie. And I'm looking at John Fossey right now. And I'm quite jealous because, obviously, look at me, my big beard. I've got my glasses.
Looking good, man.
I'm losing my sight. The grey hairs are coming, and there's John looking young. It's making me feel bad. Do you know what I mean? So just go back to a time when we were like kids. Life was good and life was easy. So what was school like for you? Because obviously this must lead into something.
Right, school. North London suburbs up in Southgate. People went to my school. Rachel Stevens went to my school.
Who's Rachel Stevens? She sounds...
S Club 7.
Oh, wow, yeah, definitely.
Amy Winehouse.
Wow.
I think the singer of The Feeling, because I remember his brother. So it had, but it didn't feel like a musical school. But had some musical people came out of the whole, so I guess came out of that area, Southgate. Yeah, Southgate was cool. It was fun. It was fast-talking people, mix of people from all different cultures, different places. But it was kind of cool. We had guitar lessons and drum lessons. You could start electric guitar lessons. So that's where I first learned to play electric guitar.
Did you learn to play guitar at school?
Yeah, that's the first lesson. So it was kind of cool. I remember one day rocking up at school and there's hands up, who wants to learn? I was playing, I don't know how kids do it. They were playing clarinet in orchestra when you're really young, right? When you really want to play, no one knows anyone who plays a clarinet. You play the clarinet, it's like, name one clarinet player. And you're like, I don't know any, right? Maybe New Orleans jazz or something like that. So when it's like time, do you want to play drums, guitar, bass? Everyone's like, yeah, because, this is what we want to do, right? So that's where it kind of started. I was lucky enough, my mum let me have a front room in my house where I had a drum kit, bass amp and bass, timbales, congas, a 4-track mixer, guitar, keyboard and vocals, and a piano in the hallway. So I had literally a studio growing up. So I could learn all the instruments, learn to record, write music, produce, and that's what I used to do. I used to come home from school and just do that constantly. My holidays, constantly. Mainly by myself. There wasn't many musicians or bands. I wasn't really playing in bands at that time. I was learning to produce and record by myself, so it's a solitude experience. But I took from artists like Prince and all these people who, I'd hear these stories, these guys who just multi-track themselves up and, and it was awesome time. I mean, the best thing about back and forward track compared to now with technology is I used to play takes. So you play a take if your mum knocks on the door, says dinner time, while you're in the take, you got to do the whole thing again. You're not chopping this thing up. So it was, you had to, one little thing that you didn't like, you had to redo the whole take again. So it's like you started, you finish it. So you do the drums, you put the bass down.
It was like, so you had a 4-track, you're saying?
Yeah, 4 tracks. So like, if you like, you've got,
of course, I get it.
you remember the 3 tracks, you put your drums down, you bounce them onto 1 track, now it's done. You can't touch them anymore, right? Then you do the bass and guitar, and you put those onto the 2nd track. And then the keyboard or maybe 1 vocal. And you had to learn to live with what you had. Any mistakes, any sound things. I didn't have all the compression, EQ, and the mastering and all the mixing. It just was raw. But you learned to play it correct and right. And it wasn't chopping things up and using quantize and all the things you have today, which is just basically, for me, just stops the flow.
It was clean.
Yeah, it was clean. And you learned how to play right. So when when you graduate to live playing, you get it. You know what I mean? You're like, there's no take 2, man. You sit.
So that's lovely, it's amazing. Where he was sitting recently, you had Dennis Bovell, so the innovator, who talked about sampling, talked about cutting things up and doing stuff that the Beatles used to do, like looping and things like that. So it's interesting to hear you talking about, you know, how you didn't really do that. Did you use samples? Did you not want to do that?
I mean, I could take things and add little samples in, but no, really, it was about playing the
So
playing
it's
the track,
just
man.
getting it clean and just creating something beautiful.
If it speeded up, if it slowed down, it was all part of it. You know what I mean? It's all part of the whole thing, right?
And my brothers got very much involved in that production side of it, but some reason it just didn't take with me at the time. Well, it didn't take. I just had so much going on. You know, playing guitar, even just being, you know, working out who the hell I am. You know how it is.
Yeah, finding yourself.
But another thing Dennis Bovell said, he talks about the influence or, you know, the inspiration of his teachers at school. And I mentioned Dennis Bovell because obviously he was sitting there before, once upon a time, but also because he's another great musician like yourself. And he talked about the inspiration that he had from his teachers. So we're talking about school. So did the teachers inspire you? Is there anything that they did that made you, that you know, did something positive?
No, bless them, they gave me their time and it was cool. But no, my inspiration came from artists that I was into. Definitely.
So tell me about the artists, man.
You know, so like, I grew up liking, I really like multi-instrumentalist artists. I was really into R&B. I mean, watching Lenny Kravitz, Terence Trent D'Arby, I know he goes by a different name, I forget his new name, but Prince, Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney. I liked a lot of that. I like the idea of someone, purity doing the whole thing, just the purity of them touching it all. But then bands that you like just music that you love growing up. I liked rock, I liked funk, I liked reggae, I liked rap, you know, everything. It just like, I was just Latino music, it was all good.
Yeah, but it seems to me, based on what stuff I've heard of yours, which is fantastic, we'll come to it later on, you know, that a lot of people, like for me, when I was growing up, the thing that grabbed me initially was rap music.
Yeah, it was great.
Because of, I mean, I used to listen to, you know, pop as well, but, you know, it kind of was taboo. You're like, oh, pop music, blah, blah, blah. How can you listen to radio? And people would just look at you and think you're crazy because you listen to the bloody radio. You listen to sort of the pops.
Yeah.
And maybe, it wasn't even just crazy. I think maybe there was a lot of this kind of, how could I be listening to top that's white music kind of stuff, you know. You know, which is crazy, right? But so I got into the rapping. It was all about this attitude stuff, but that really had a real mad negative impact on me. And I'm don't expect, and please anyone who's hearing, please don't take offence by this, but you know, I've kind of noticed that white people, and don't get me wrong, white brothers and sisters don't tend to have that kind of impact from that kind of music. They can take it or leave it. Whereas with black people, it's like, you know, get rich, die trying, it's the whole life. You know, remember the Vanilla Ice? Vanilla Ice was this rapper, but everyone was like, really? Is he really a rapper? He's just taking the piss, you know what I mean? Even with Eminem, is he really? Then you have to go back to his story. Oh, he's a trailer guy, he lives in the trailer, then you go, oh yeah, he's authentic. But there's always a kind of question of it. So you said you liked rap music.
Yeah,
what
love
kind
it.
of impact?
I mean, like my, you know, like setup friend came from California, stuff like that. I mean, anything that came out of California to me was like amazing, you know. So I remember the times when the Chronic came out, and then you're like, well, and then it's like, what's this? And you go back in time, what's NWA? And rap's the greatest storytelling. I mean, when you have a song, and you've got the verse, and you have the chorus and the bridge, and you're stuck to the syllables and the melody, and you've got to repeat stuff. There's only so much you can say. Rap, you could read a book in a 3.5 minute song and get through so much. It didn't have to make sense. It just had to rhyme and have cadence about it, and just
didn't have to make sense.
Didn't
have to make sense.
And
that sounds like David Bowie.
Yeah, right. Or you know, like, take John Lennon come together? It don't make sense. You know, I can sing a song, you can just change all the lines together and they just make as much sense. But it was that kind of thing. But rap to me, I used to love 50s music, right? So rap to me was like Chuck Berry. So when he's saying, we're down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, and doing that, that's rap to me. It's just flow. It's just flow. And he had great stories. He spoke about being a teenager in the 50s and riding in cars. And so for me, when I used to hear rap, it's like, it's Chuck Berry, basically. You're doing the flow. And then, you know, have the chorus of go, 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 and then you go back to flow. So it was all flow to me. It was like, right, this is just great flow. And you could say a lot and you just bring stories in. So it was cool. But you know, like, let's say in the 90s, rap music blew up, but it's mostly white kids buying the rap music. Like they say, the stats, it's like 75%, it blew that market up. So what made it so popular was the crossover, right? And when you're a teenager, you want the dangerous thing. You want the, you know, like a little bit, hate the world, right? Hate your parents, hate the world, I want to break out. And, you know, whatever rock music was at one point to that, rap music became that sort of thing. It symbolized that thing, and it was amazing. It was just so had power to it, and the negativity still was quite inspiring at the same time. If you know what you're doing, I mean, if you're going to watch Die Hard, you're not going to go out and try and like blow up a building. You know, you understand you're watching a movie, right? You know, do you know what I mean? And so,
you understand that,
right? You know,
not everyone understands.
Right.
That.
Well, bless them. You know, but bless them and let them find their way. But. Rap music, I thought was amazing. I thought it was great. I just thought, you know, I remember when Snoop Dogg's first album came out. He just had this cool demeanor, which had almost like the Marvin Gaye of rap, if you would. Do you know what I mean? Where beautiful melodies, and it was based on P-Funk, which is cool funk music. Like proper funk music came back. You know, you know what I mean? And, you know, the bass was heavy and the groove, and you bop your head, and the sound system had the big subs, so we had the cars with the big subs, and it all just sounded nice. It sounded tasty, man. It was beautiful. What a time.
I love it. But look, you know, it sounds like music obviously has taken over your life, which is a great thing. We want people, you know, you're an artist, want to know that the person's absolutely absorbed in music. But, you know, what about your parents? How did your parents look at this, your desire? Did they have a career path for you where, like, thinking, come on, man, we've got to get this guy on track? What was going on there?
They gave up early on that one, man. No, they just, like, you know what? I think, hopefully, I mean, you're a parent. You see your kids are into something that's good for them, and there's a passion. You let them just flow down that road, right? You just let them go down that road, and, you know, like I said, I was given the freedom to do that. So I was given the freedom to go to nightclubs when I was 15 years old.
Well, that was the same as me.
So I was in Camden, in, you know, with your fake ID, but just it wasn't about, okay, people go, 15 years old.
You still look very young now, too, so you're doing all right, man. You're doing all right.
Bless you, and you, man. We're doing good. But it was
jealous of this guy, I'm jealous.
But, I mean, it was about being with adults, hearing all the music, sound systems, dancing for hours, with enough money for 2 Coca-Colas and the N29 back home, you know, that was it. And it was like such a flavor to go to these sort of places. I loved it. So you had that, you had your studio, you're into your music. I'll be listening to Elvis Presley at the same time, Snoop Dogg as Rage Against the Machine and Prince, and just listen to
those
all
things
music.
can work now. And, you know, you can do crossovers now and all sorts of great stuff, yeah.
So music's all music. For me, music is music. It's a spiritual thing. All the boxes people put it into is over-analytical. For me, it doesn't make any sense.
It's crippling.
Yeah,
and
it comes from the earth. It comes from...
For someone like myself, anyone listening to this, someone like myself who was doing rock music, as a black person doing rock music, it was crippling. The black people aren't buying into the black artists doing rock music. So, you know, the music just gets washed away.
But anyway, the history of that is amazing. Like, you take Thin Lizzy, Jimi Hendrix, you take...
But there's only so few at a time. In my case, they told me that they can only have one black artist on the radio at the same time.
Radio. That's the system, yeah.
So that was the situation. So, you know, there was, you know, clearly, we talk about a system that prevented kinds of music from influencing other people and creating different ideas in people's heads. Yeah. You know, anyway, we digress. So, so how did you go from the guy being the artist, learning, producing your own music, falling in love with music, probably building a band and everything else, because you would have been doing music as performers, right? Would you performed at any point?
Like as a teenager, no, I was just recording only. I didn't perform until I got into my 20s, and that's when I got into the live scene. It took me a little while to get into live.
And
actually, I started later.
You started. I know you were. Obviously, I put you on at the Gate Bar with Joy. So
well, that's some of my early days of actually getting on stage. Awesome, thank you for that. Man, thank you, man. You opened a gate.
Man, dude, we did so. The great thing. I've actually got an artist here, who's I wanted to mention her because brought us back to the days. An artist called Layla, who you want to see, and that's Layla, one of the artists who's blah blah blah. So there's loads of different artists that performed back in the day. There's another artist called Claire Toomey. So are there any artists that artists that you kind of remember, or great acts that you've put on and stuff, and obviously this is someone I put on. The sad thing about it is these artists didn't actually. I don't want to diminish them in any way. Didn't amount to the level they should have got to.
Right.
So are there artists like that you think deserve
thousands?
I love that.
Thousands and
it's unbelievable.
Thousands.
Sad, but it's true.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's only so much room at the top, and there's only so much commercial. I mean, like, I always think like this. The best burgers you've ever eaten in your life ain't McDonald's, right? But they're the most, that's the one that sells all the time, right? And we go back, but you could make me a better burger than McDonald's right now, and you probably can make your first burger and destroy it. It's not the best things always rise to that sort of success of commercial, right? And there's only so much room up there that we can fit, right?
What goes wrong? What do you think goes wrong?
But it's more keeping the underground industry real, because that is, for me, the music industry. That celebrity thing up the top is great, it's cool, but for me, it ain't the music industry. The music industry is really the venues and the clubs. I mean, for every time a big star will come into town and sell out 90,000 seats, all the live music venues around England on that day are destroying that number. It's like, there's so much big quantities. There's so many bands, so many that have done some fantastic things, and you just sit and you're just blown away. I mean, I was at a show on Friday night. I'm going to forget his last name, but his name is Andre. He's a guitarist. This guy comes up, right? With guitar, just backing track and guitar. And he goes, starts playing music. And he said, I'm going to do a Joe Satriani cover. I'm like, you kidding me? And then he does a Stevie Vai cover. And he, to be honest, no offense to those guys, he's on par with them. Then he does his own stuff. This guy's guitar playing was insane.
Sounds like Ren. Sounds like Ren.
Insane. Like Eddie Van Halen, that level, right? And not kidding, not a slight bit.
Another person I'm jealous of now.
Right.
Keep coming.
And you want to go back, you want to play your guitar, and straight after gigs, like, man, we got a jam. And like, I need to. There's that out there playing in your bars and clubs in London. And, we can look back and, all these people have passed, there's some of these great musicians. They're happening right now on our streets.
But that's why I jump in there, because it's so amazing, because, people, for a long time, we've talked about the death of rock and roll. Literally, it's like we're starting to see this decline of rock music and rock bands and everything else. And there seems to be this, I mean, obviously there's a shelf life, right? In other words, artists go on, they join a band and they get really excited. They go out there for maybe 2 or 3 years and they go, oh fuck, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. And then they basically, find another band, or some of them pack up and go back to whatever, get a job. But but there's also, there's loads of great artists that stay in the industry. Do you know what I mean? And and they're not being seen enough.
Right.
I'm glad that you're actually seeing them.
Yeah, it's perseverance. I mean, the thing is, if you go into this game thing, I want to be a star, you're not going in for the right reasons. I'm sorry. You're going in to almost, and you've got to sell your integrity kind of bit together a little bit. And then when you get there and you get well and it opens up for you, then you can open up your integrity again, right? You can go where you want to go. But if you're going to let that frustrate you, yeah, it's kind of like saying I'm in a dating game and I want to find a rich husband. If I don't find a rich husband, it ain't cool. It's like this, that set mentality says not the way you should go about it. You should think, I'm going to go make my thing happen.
Definitely.
And then how it is and whatever the journey isn't about destination, I'm going to make it work. That's the key to kind of, then you don't kill your frustration, expectations, and you will continue.
Yeah.
And you'd be happy playing in front of 5 people, as well as the next gig you might get paid a lot of money and play in front of 1,000 people, and then you might be getting paid nothing, but you want to play in 5 people because you want to play that night. You don't want to be at home watching Netflix, because I'd rather go play. You know, it's almost that sort of level of, you've got to keep the passion going.
Yeah, but we talked about, obviously, there's a lot of artists, I think, that go and watch bands and steal a lot of their music. It's so easy to steal people's music now. People are putting stuff all over this. You're putting stuff online. Yeah. People just go, I'll have some of that. Grab a bit of this.
Go for it.
They get influenced by the sound of your music. They create stuff. So it's really, I mean, the people, like you said, the people at the top are the ones clean off top. So just going, we'll get back to you again, but the streaming. Yeah. This streaming thing with artists, so the artists, they're going off and they're doing their gigs. I mean, how much they're getting paid? They probably look at people like yourself.
Highly much.
They probably look at people like yourself and think, this is the way to look at me back in the day, and be like, oh, you're getting taken all the money, you know, you're for the door, for whatever. But how do you look at that? Do you think, you know what, you're giving them an opportunity? How do you? I
mean, look, there's very few promoters. There's a lot of artists, right? Why is that? Because you don't want to. It's like artists very much want to deal with their art. It's about my art. It's me. What I want to do. Right? Okay. Cool. Right. But then there's the scene around you. So when you start branching out, it's like, right, I want to create a platform. Like, you're creating a platform. What you're doing, interviewing people and stuff like that. You're an artist. It's about creating a platform. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of administration. You got a lot of. There's a lot. It's, you know what I mean.
Listen, guys. Listen.
There's a lot that goes into it, and you're going to get battered. You're going to have venue managers going to bar spending up, and you got to get the people come through, and you got the cancellations of the band. You got to find the acts. You got to do the flyers.
I do remember.
So the tickets. You got to do everything, and then you're under pressure from everyone and everything. Right? It's not just. Here's my song I've done 20 times before, right?
It's also the free drinks, and it's the free food, and everything else you got to.
What business can do that? You know, you go into McDonald's and go, yo, give me a free milkshake, a free burger, and These venues have.
But they deserve it. The artists deserve it. But a lot of times they don't bring enough people to the events.
They can't. They just can't.
They can't follow them to many gigs.
They can't. They just can't. But they still need to play. And let's put it this way. Bruce Springsteen comes to London, plays every 3 years, right? If he played in a bar 3 times a week in the same bar, do you think you get that many people to come up to it? Right, it definitely comes once in a while. You can go around the world. But the bands, let's say in London, have these venues and they're inviting their friends out. So I remember one time a friend saying to me, John, I've come to see you more times than I've seen my favourite band perform. My favourite band was U2. I've seen you, them twice, I've seen you 5 times. How many times can I keep coming to see you play? Bless them, they've only got so many people in their hemisphere of friends, and you know,
that they can invite out to come and see you. So it's weird, and you of course,
So it's hard. It's hard. So it's hard for them, but they still need to play to get good, and they still want to perform, and they still want to go do things. So as an organizer, you've got to work with those expectations in place. And you know, if they can't bring many people, if they can bring many people on one time, but then the next time they can't. It's this thing. And the bar still needs to run and make money, and instead of saying, right, we're just going to do, I don't know, DJ night, comedy night, whatever, or turn it into a restaurant or a pool hall, for them to say, we're going to stick by live music, it needs to make sense to them. The bands really just want to play to audiences and have fun, enjoy it, because, you know, if you're going to put 5 bands on a night and it's 20 people, 20 musicians, and then you've got the engineer, and you've got the bar staff, and you've got the security, and all the, you know, the door checkout girl, and you've got the sound engineer, and let's say everything, and the person organising it. How much change can come through that door to pay for all that? The economy does not work that way. So it's hard to say, right, here's loads of money for everyone, here's free stuff for everyone, because that same place would disappear, as we've seen venues disappear, right? Because it's giving everything away for free. It just can't operate. And then no single person would go, yeah, I just do this thing for free. It doesn't work that way.
It worked for us. You know, we used to do free venues, free nights, whatever. We did get to a point where we had a problem whereby the venues started to not want us to take the support from that venue to the other venue. So in other words, you can't take the fans from there to there. Yeah, so when we had another venue, they were like, well, no, you got to keep everyone here. So I was like, oh, okay.
But it's free will.
They just wanted to make sure that they were always making the money they were making, right? So if we want to open up other things, that other venue's got to lose out. So why do you do it?
Right. Well, the thing is, it's like
You don't do it for the 3 cups of tea, I know that much.
Yeah, a cup of tea is great, man. I believe everything needs a scene. When Nirvana came out, they're a great band. They needed the Seattle scene. Prince comes out, Minneapolis scene. Joni Mitchell comes out in the folk scene. The Beatles come out the Liverpool scene. Everything's related to a scene, okay? When you have venues all together, let's say the destruction of Denmark Street, okay? Denmark Street, I remember before Crossrail, we'd have Metro, 100 clubs, the only thing there. We'd have Alley Cats, the Intrepid Fox that did all the heavy metal. We had Astoria 1 and 2. You had Borderline that did all the country stuff. You had the 12 Bar did the folk stuff. You had a scene, okay? Now, when the scene goes, and they all lived off of each other, so they would come after, these things would shut hours and one's late hours and stuff like that, and you had, like I said, heavy metal, you had the bigger bands, you had the country, you had the rock and roll, you had the folk, they all kind of came together. You need a scene, and then that's an ecosystem that survives,
of course,
and goes through the years, right?
Oh, you've got to build a scene.
Right. So it's the mentality for me is like when what I did is with some friends of mine, we decided to do a festival in London. It was about 2006. And we took over Soho. We thought, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do kind of like it's a festival, but using clubs instead of tents. So it's armbands. And on a Thursday and a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday, you can go to 5 different venues. So we took over Café de Paris for 3 nights, Sound on Leicester Square.
That's what you're
we
telling
had
me about
China
this stuff.
One, we had Madame Joe's, we had 150 bands, we had 25 dates, 12 different venues. It was nuts. I mean, it's something never been done before, I'm sure, right? And when, it's like these venues are all new to me at the time. So I didn't know the engineer, I didn't know the artist. But anyway, so we did this thing. The money went to Amazon Rainforest to conserve Amazon Rainforest land. Okay?
How kind of you, John.
No, but it's so cool. But you could.
Yeah, like, see, this is hippie in John. Like, see, the money goes to the Amazon Rainforest.
Right.
There's a lot of guitars you could have bought for that. Maybe a bit of a guitar tuition.
Yeah, but where are you going to get from the wood from if they've cut down the trees, right? You're not going to make guitars, are you?
Forward thinking, right?
Let's go to the raw materials. But anyway, fantastic, right? It was a lot. I mean, again, I did it. I got, financially, I lost money out of it, but I just loved it. And we had, and it's such a buzz. Now, I did the same thing a month later, 2 months later, did the same in Hoxton, Shoreditch. Took over a bunch. What happened after that, I didn't expect. All the venues I had, most of them, said, would you do residencies here? I was like, what? Literally overnight, I've got like 10 venues under residencies for. So I have a circuit now in London, and a really good one.
And this is why we've got John Fossey here, guys, because this guy, you know what we were doing in Nottinghil Gate, he's just gone and eclipsed that, and he's just kicking it out there.
But I took it from ideas from watching you, watching other. I mean, a good friend of mine.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the compliment.
No, really, it is. And watching how you guys did it, and I had a good friend in Shaz who did pop, a great thing in pop, and I learned from just saw what was going on. But by doing that, it was just a bit of fluke that a lot of these venues sort of came back, and therefore I had to find lots of bands and. Then it became a whole circuit. But I could go off of bands like, here's a menu of venues, you can play everywhere. For them, I understood it was like as an artist to email a venue and they don't get back and trying to find gigs. It's tough, man, and a lot of wasted time. I'd be like, don't worry about it. What do you want? Book this in April, book this in June, and I just opened it up and just look, I'm going to cut all your admin, all your rubbish, all your frustrations and make it real easy. You can play and play and play and play. You do as much as you can. Some venues are free entry, there's no money in it. Some venues, ticket sales, you do a commission on it. If you make a lot on the commission, good for you, you can make some dough. If you don't, it's all right, man, it's cool. So it was kind of free, but it just allowed them to perform. Loads of good artists came through there. I mean, we had, the Leanne Lee Havis, we'd have the London Grammar come through there, we'd have loads of different ones, Jade Bird, there's loads.
We had one band which I loved. There's so many guys. So I'm not gonna put the one I remember. I've got CDs everywhere, right? But and I'll maybe put some of the pictures on, wherever. I'm sure anything you mentioned too. The Hoosiers. You remember the band The Hoosiers? Awesome. Yeah. They were awesome.
Yeah.
So there's so many cool bands like that.
So cool.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so some will go into the hemisphere and do their thing. Well done to them, well done for them, you know what I mean? And they all, you could always tell the one that had drive, they had this sort of drive, right? But there were so many cool bands and like musicians that would be performing in Amy Winehouse's band and there's loads of cool stuff, right? You know, today I still go to festivals and go, yo, I know that guitar is playing with, I don't know, James Bay or Bubba or something like that, you know. But it created that just ecosystem. And for me, that's where the music industry was, because where everyone's fighting social media, putting all their admin time for content, like, all right, cool, help Mark Zuckerberg and, you know, if you want to help him. Or streaming, go help, you know, Daniel at Spotify, or trying to get your record. They're doing all this work and everything. Just going and playing a gig in a cool bar in London, you get people come in, and everyone's coming, and you feel it, and you see the response, and you feel the music. And that, for me, is the main thing you need to do. And you can spend all the time. And I just want to make it easy journey for these people. Give them the backline, give them the sound system, good engineer, good lineups where other people are there to join their people and bring it up. And you just bring it together. And that was the best you could really offer. There was nothing more you could really offer. You know,
of course.
You know what I mean? And
making sure that it was clean, giving them getting a nice audience, getting the audience ready for the artist to come on.
You know,
that's it. But you know what? We could talk about this stuff all day long, and we probably will end up doing so. But I've still got some questions I want to put to you.
Yeah.
I've got to get those for you, otherwise we're
Go
going
for it.
I'd be worried about not achieving that. Right?
Cool.
So this is just a few questions here before I ask you a little bit about your music. £1 million, but you lose the ability to play guitar forever. What do you choose? You get offered £1 million, but you lose the ability to play guitar forever.
No, man. What would I do £1 million when I just want to buy a guitar collection out of it, right? So, no. You know what I mean? It's like, money's not important compared to music. Like, not even come close.
Said by a true hippie.
No, not even come close. Not even come close.
All right. Okay.
But I'll take both if I could.
Any regrets? Be honest. Honest. No lies.
Oh,
here.
loads.
Any regrets?
Like loads. There's so many sliding doors where it's like you could go left or right, and you go left and right was just like, are you? I look back, I want to go, John, back in the past, mate. Look, so many. I mean, I remember a good friend of mine one night we're at Kensington. I'm doing a show at Kensington Roof Gardens. So I used to run Kensington Roof Gardens, Richard Branson's place. We're doing a fashion show. With live music. I was trying to do the Victoria's Secret thing, you know, live band, fashion show. Make a fashion show fun because it's so boring sitting around, you know. Just make it active, right? So anyway, doing this night down there, and it's a lot. So there's a lot of equipment, there's designers, there's models, there's, where's the tit tape? Do you know what I mean? There's like, what's this? I'm used to musicians.
Tit tape.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, and you're running around like Kensington trying to find something.
That's a fashion show, right?
Fashion show, right. It's like, anyway, it was all new to me. Anyway, so we'd finished this night, but my sound engineer guy, the good friend of mine, Carlon, says to me, and he's a good brother of mine, he's an awesome guy, says, look, John, we've got a special guest. We've got to go to Home House, which is one of our other venues. Carlon's a house DJ, I play live guitar. And I remember him saying, we've got a special guest. They just called us up that night to go play. I'm like, I'm busy here with this. He goes, look, I'm going to go down and meet me down there. Anyway, I had such a busy night just finishing up the show. We had Miss England's in there. We had thrones. We had sound systems. Anyway, we had to clear the place. It's late. It's 2 a.m. And I decided not to go to Home House to play because I was exhausted. Wow. People started coming back to my flat. I was living in Hyde Park at the time. And a bit of, not after party, but people were coming back and I'm tired. Anyway, I had my friend's keys because I dropped his sound system off at his house. He comes back in the morning and says, John, I got something to tell you, you're going to hate it. I was like, what? It's exhausting to tell you. Because I said, guess who came to watch us play? Who came to jam with us? I'm like, what? He goes, you're going to hate. I go, what? Guess who came to play with us? And you didn't turn up. I said, who? He said, Prince.
Oh, no way.
And I was like...
My heart just sunk then, man.
Right?
Oh.
And Prince, so Prince like, was my... I manifested that because he was my man growing up, right? Anyway, after that, I learned a lesson. I never miss a gig. If I've got an injury, I'm telling you, if I'm hobbling on stage, I'll hobble up. If I'm exhausted. But, you know, so you have those sort of times where, you know, there's something you'd really want to do. You might have been cool. I've had loads of those things that happen.
Yeah, I never. I've learned that thingy. Obviously, for me, I mean, I passed out on stage because I had pneumonia. I still had to do the gig.
Yeah.
And I literally fainted on the stage because I was
under those lights.
Sweat.
Yeah,
everyone was like, bloody hell, mate, and I was on the floor. So yeah, but you know, we all have our regrets. I mean, everyone, but you know, we've got to slide through those, don't we?
I don't think, but at the end of the day, they're not regrets. I always look at the,
like I said, don't make it, seriously, don't throw me, I just got thrown under the bus. I said the regrets, and he's going, no, he's cutting it.
People should have applauded you, like, come on, man, get up, we can do it, right?
But that wasn't a regret for me falling, that wasn't the regret. What I mean is other things I've done. But you know what? It's brought me here.
Man. It's nothing.
So I'm like, I would never change the kids I've got. I love my family, everything else, and so I can't take away from that. But anyway, if you could change the world, what would it look like? What would the world look like if you could change it?
Why would I change it? All right, let's go with the music world. I think if there was an ecosystem in the venues in London that was pushed down by a cultural law that could actually feed all the musicians in some sort of system, and I bet we could do it. And actually, I know we can do it, we don't do it. That could just open up the cultural live music industry in London for everyone's mental health, for everyone wanting to pick up a guitar, for everyone wanting to go have fun, for bringing people, bringing rooms together by letting art speak. Let's take England. We are known for our music around the world. Our greatest export is music. People come from around the world with their guitars to London to say, "Hey, man, this is where I want to come from, the four corners of the world." Create an ecosystem that worked. That's what we need to do. It can be done.
Yeah, but there's also, I don't want to take too long on this, there's a cultural problem. The thing is, there were lots of clubs that were shut down because of the violence that was happening in those clubs, Nottinghil Gate, for example, I got attacked in a club because of a bunch of gangster rappers, gang kids are influenced by gangster music. That's one of the reasons I kind of got out of the industry. Right. So, there's a lot of, you sometimes you're trying to help some of these kids and they end up, it turns out to be a nightmare.
On that one, I've done a lot of live music nights, over 6,000. Any time a club is shut down, it was because, and we say it's DJ night, where they may have rap music or drama. Live music, I've never had an incident.
No, live music. But
never.
We put on a specific. We were trying to help out this band, this group. We thought there were a bunch of cool guys, and they, it turned out to, we were two black guys. We were two black guys. They were jealous of us being two black guys having a nice life. They were black guys too, but because we, were black guys going somewhere, they didn't like it, and they got jealousy. And it's a nonsense because we're there to help them. We put them on to help them. So that's a cultural issue because they couldn't even see what we were doing. So there's unfortunately, so you talk about this big thing about opening up the whole world. It's great, but you're always going to have people going, but we've got to bring that music back. And unfortunately, when that culture, it can itself cause enough problems. That's what I believe, and so it's like
sometimes.
Not sometimes, bro. There's a lot of venues that were shut down. A lot of stuff shut down because of like the gangster, the drill music, or some of these grime stuff.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not played down, right?
No,
we got to deal with that as well.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a thing, but it's like if someone gets stabbed in W.H. Smith, they don't shut W.H. Smith down. If someone gets stabbed in a bar or a club, they shut it down. Right? So it's a two-tier respect. I remember there's this one place I was doing in Shaftesbury Avenue, and I was doing it 7 days a week. It was exhausting, to be honest with you, like putting live music on. And my dad calls me up. My dad lives out in the countryside somewhere. And he doesn't know much about venues. He used to read the newspaper. He goes, "Yeah, John, I heard a club shut down in London for a shooting. It could be one of yours." I'm like, "Dad, there's so many places. How's it be mine?" And no way. He just said it. Boom. It was. But again, it was we did live music, and it would be like the theatre people going. Really nice. Right next to Les Miserables, the theatre place. Right next to it. Same landlord. They used to complain about the sound. And then later, DJ night, where everyone's on the dance floor trying to bust in all the corners, and it's not together. The room's not together like a live concert, right? And then someone shoots someone. The live music doesn't do that. It brings people together. That's what I'm saying. So a live music ecosystem, for me personally, is statistically safe.
I was only talking about some of the pitfalls. That's all. Not saying it's not possible. It's about you got to make sure you manage that too. There's a lot of pandering. There's a lot of people thinking it's never going to happen. And it does happen, and they just go, they shut it all down. Anyway, I want to get back to you. So, has music brought you love?
Yeah. I fall in love every time I make a song. Don't you? You do. Yes,
yeah,
you do.
man, but it's not about, you know what I want about? I want about music. You know, I got married out of music.
Okay, for sure.
I met
man, come on, if you can serenade a woman, man, you fall in love, right? It's like, of course. I'd say to every
play the guitar, guy. You have no idea.
Listen to him.
You have no idea the power of the guitar.
Listen to him. Even if you don't have a career in it, if you can serenade a woman, a guy, and you're having a tough luck, and you haven't got the money, you haven't got the swag, you haven't got the big car, if you can sing a cool song and play it down.
Absolutely,
right?
Man, exactly.
Come on.
That's why I can have my beard the way I am,
man. And you're cool as hell.
Monkeys,
you're cool as hell, man. You're cool as hell.
It's very kind of you.
It's
look,
true, man.
So tell me about the Fossey Tango. That's something. Obviously, you want to know more about that because this is what you're about.
Yeah,
right?
This like sort of band project. Yeah.
Okay, so band project, but you got some good stuff on it.
Yeah, man. So Fossey Tango's. So I've been in bands, we change names sometimes and do things. I've been doing that for a while. So most places, when I was doing venues and I had the residencies and I put culture in live music venues, I usually was the house band.
Okay, yeah.
So if it was a special occasion or something,
to make sure that the music's good, there's a certain level of music coming on every night.
I could pick some good musicians, man. So it was a great gift. So it's like I could go play some brilliant stages in these places. So I learned there. I learned in that sort of environment, in the bars and clubs. What I say when they say street music.
Yeah.
Proper street music, not like corporation street music. I mean, in the streets where people come, where people walk into a room, it's like, who the hell are you? It's Saturday night, I got my date, you better be good, and you're setting up, you know what I mean? We want a DJ, and then you kick in and like, wow, and before you know it, you got the whole room together. So that, I came from that kind of thing. So I came from a house band. So Fossey Tango came from house bands of all these different venues, Shoreditch, Camden, and Soho and Kensington, all the different places. Released an album in...
Only one album?
Well, the first, a few albums, but let's say one that was in 2013. I did a charity album. It was for Love a Child charity, which was Burmese kids building a school and stuff. Anyway, we got a lot of different named artists on there. So we had Eliza Doolittle, Peter Doherty, we had Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols, Phil Manzanillo from Roxy Music, William Morbett, Black Slate, Curiously Killed the Cat, David Soul from Starsky and Hutch, Francis Raphael, who's Liz Miserable's singer. We had boom, 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 boom.
Amazing.
And we played those songs, wrote the songs, did an album launch. So we did that. That was an album that I put out because
Fossey,
right?
Fossey.
Bring it on, man. It was cool. We had good made radio shows. We got good press out of it. And I liked doing it because it had a purpose and a message and brought a collective people together again. I like that sort of like scene, bring a scene together, right? And for me, what was cool, no one's doing that. I mean, I don't. If I see a debut album from an artist, to have that many artists and that many other artists on it, no one's doing it. So for me, that's kind of cool. right?
Yeah.
So trying to do something different, innovative, out of the box. You know, no budget, didn't have no label behind me, didn't have anything behind me. It's just like your own wits. So that for me is cool. Released another album sort of over lockdown. So I've only maybe released 1 or 2 or 3 albums, to be honest with you. I've recorded loads of music, but it's all vaulted or I play it live and that sort of thing. So I only release this now and again. I probably will next year. Okay. You know,
the Fossey Tango thing. I heard it's like a cross between Prince and Paul McCartnney.
Yeah, that was a phrase the BBC gave.
Yeah, and I saw it on on your website, right,
yeah.
and stuff like that. And I listened to some of it, and it did have that kind of flavour, that kind of retro vibe, but that kind of also that newish kind of flavour to the rock stuff that Prince always brought, that innovative stuff he brought. But there's a song I really took to, My Sister.
Yeah, cool.
So who wrote the song, and
Yeah, like I wrote the song.
You wrote the song?
Yeah, I wrote it, performed it with the band, all the guys in the band. And that song, all right, so what we used to do a thing called live, which is a bit like switching the music. We'd play one song, okay? And I could shout to the drummer country, and we'd switch into a country arrangement. And the same song, I could shout samba, and switch into samba, reggae, switch into reggae, switch to blues. So we kind of like would medley and DJ the live performance, and we could make calls, and the band would just switch, but on the same song, right? Rock,
yeah, I can see that.
drops into reggae, drops into punk, drops into blues, has a build up, has a guitar solo, has a rap, has rock, has
Everyone,
funk.
please go buy
One
that
song.
track, check that track out, because it's incredible.
Yeah, and that's kind of so. Look, I tried to do that in one song. A bit like that's why the BBC said Paul McCartney. He says a bit like Live and Let Die when he goes into reggae and he goes into the classical. Tried to switch it in the same song, but that's kind of when we're live. We do that because the idea is every style of music has a different kind of dance. So when you go Latino, they dance Latino. When you go reggae, everyone dances reggae. When it's rock, everyone bounces up. You know what I mean? It's like, and you try and make everyone dance a different sort of way in a performance. So for the dancing audience, for their happy feet. So that was the kind of reasoning behind it, I guess.
Brilliant. So what's next for you in terms of music?
I perform in different sort of forms of Fossey Tango, from acoustic to bigger band. We do, I don't know, like some 20 shows a month, various places. We're producing a new album that we're going to do at the moment. And yeah, we're just like active. It's constant, it's constant, just like always.
So you're
going.
so basically you're running this night and you're putting on bands as well, and you do your own shows as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And then produce music as well. And
so would you say that that's what some other artists should be doing? They shouldn't just be 100%. Finding a way to kind of fund themselves along the journey. Don't just go, just be...
Yeah, like you gotta... It's show business, right? So as much as it's like my art, my music, trying to do that thing, you should be putting on your own nights. You should be getting other bands to join you to bring your forces together so you become a force, then individual. You should be doing collectives like getting guest appearances on. You should be reaching out to artists that you really admire and like, and get them on board. You know what I mean? You should try and do everything. Do everything. Like, that's what you were doing. You were like, I would watch people like you who were like, you'd perform, you'd host, you'd put on a night, you'd bring everyone together, you made it a scene, you made Notting Hill cool, you made Notting Hill what it was. It's not quite what it was before.
No, those days were the rock and roll days.
Right?
I mean, mate,
and that's because of those things. It was those things. That was the whole the crutch of it. And that's why you knew the area. That's why I would go there. Otherwise, I wouldn't go there. So it's that thing that's why you see the venue shutting down, because that thing is missing.
Absolutely.
And the more people can do the extra thing on top of just playing their songs and their 4 chords and singing their lyrics.
But it's about making. I mean, I'm noticing these kids are kind of getting cool. Like when I went up to, we go to watch loads of bands, me and Terry Topcat see loads of bands. And when I get out there, I got to see these really cool looking kids. They're all dressing like in the 70s, man. Like, that whole vibe.
Nice. Colours.
Do you know what I mean? Like flares and stuff, and all this really cool, like, I'm like, wow. Right. I don't know. I'm like, it's happening. How the hell? What's going on? It's almost like a generation or a group of the generation going, you know what? We're not going to go down that path. We're going to just follow. We're going to create our own thing. We're going to go back.
Good.
Because that's what it was. That's what the scene was. It was like, there's so much incredible music out there. British music, you know.
Yeah, man.
American music, great guys, but a lot of the American music that's come into it's not added anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's why I love, Ren can do something. Ren, that new artist Ren, he can take that American thing and work with it, but not everyone can do that. So it's like, you just got to stick to what you know. And what we know, the Beatles, man. The Beatles,
Amazing.
the Smiths.
Yeah.
Guido. Don't get me wrong, it's not knocking you too, man. You know what I mean? Look, it's U2, baby, Acton, baby. These are So is there any tracks, any song or any band? I mean, remember Stereophonics?
Of course, man.
Do you ever remember the Smiths?
Yeah, of course.
So okay, he says course. Okay.
The Smiths take me back. Like I used to go to Manchester, where I had friends at university, and I remember Hacienda and just nights where it was the Manchester vibe of music, and you had all those bands coming out that era. That was great. Manchester's a really loving music.
Liverpool's doing it as well.
Liverpool's badass. Liverpool's badass. I mean, they, do you know what I mean? And it's so, like, I won't bring it back to the England scene. Yeah, we're a small island, right? And what we've pushed out into the world is massive.
Absolutely.
So that ecosystem we've got to keep.
Yeah, we've got to do it again.
Right?
Find a way. I think a lot of this independent stuff is kind of also, it's been good, but it's made people depend more on getting their stuff out online rather than getting their stuff out and building a scene.
Go live. Go live.
You know?
I mean, you can do the content all you want, but you're just going into it's like a teardrop into a big ocean.
Of course.
Live, you can, if you can move that person in front of you, they never forget you. You can someone can scan through your song once they're going through 1,000 different songs online. And kind of they've forgotten you because we've gone through so many other songs. But if you can connect with someone live, ain't nothing like it, man. Of course. Sorry.
No. And hear him, because it's the truth. We want to get more people out to his venues and out supporting live music. It's the biggest thing out there for this year. It's 2025.
Right.
I'm to 2022, that's how far.
We're in the future, man.
2025, right? And in 2025, we need people going out and supporting bands, because you wouldn't have got the likes of people. There's a lot of negativity towards the Smiths, but my God, was it The Boy with the Thorn in His Side? God, that tune.
Great. Johnny Marr, man, come on. He's like,
what I mean? It's like every single tune, and and your music, and my music, and every other great artist. A lot of us artists aren't getting the credibility that we deserve and not getting our stuff out there. But you know what? There's always going to be artists that are going to pull that. They're going to pull it up somehow. So keep going.
And when it is supporting bands, I always say, bands are supporting my boring life. I'll be sitting at home watching Netflix and we're boring life.
Why'd you do it?
They're supporting my boring life by entertaining me, by taking me out, showing me a vibe, all the people, going to a cool place, getting out in the rain, in the cold, spending my extra money they ain't got, go down to this venue and have a scene and life around you, man. And the scene ain't on Facebook, Instagram, all that, watching TV and all the media. It's being out in your local environment and just tasting people, having a good time, listening to art, music. They're supporting my boring life. That's how I see it.
That's all good. But is there a Mrs. Fossey or a Mr. Fossey? Who knows?
Yeah. There's been Mrs. Fosseys, but right now, I can say no comment on that one.
I'm only saying that because you know what? To all the women that be watching this, whatever, anyone, women and men watching this, you know what? You never know. So So could you tell where they can find you if artists want to put forward some music for one of your events, whatever?
Okay. So for my events, email address festivaljamlive@gmail.com. Send me an email. Just send me an email, and we'll work it out. And music, Fossey, which is Fossey, tangomusic.com. And you can go find music there or hit it into YouTube or whatever. But, come to the website, much cooler,
Brilliant. And one last thing, it's a big question, but it's a question that needs to be asked. Artists streaming, that streaming thing, getting publishing deals, is that the right way for artists to go? What should they do?
Add it to your plateau, add to your arsenal. Of course, you
it pays nothing.
But it's...
Still need the numbers, right?
You've got to make music. We love making music, and we're producing his music, and we've got to get it out there. I don't worry about the numbers so much. I mean, who are you trying to impress? I mean, it's like I find it quite.
But they want to get signed.
Well, then create a live scene where people are paying tickets to come watch you play then. And create a night or create something where that's an economy, because you can have one night selling £20 tickets to 200 people. You've made a whole lot more than anyone with millions of hits on Spotify is getting. And it's real. It's real. I'm sorry, it's real. And then a label can see it. Maybe if we can send this and distribute it to the masses and do it, we can do it. So just kind of create your own thing. I wouldn't worry about the labels. I mean, I don't know really. I mean, labels do amazing things. I get it, and we need them. I mean, I don't like the labels, hate the system. It's not about that. It's not about. They are so important. They make it possible. But while you're getting there, do your own thing, man.
Brilliant.
I can think of 20 different ways before you need a label that you could create something of yours, you know. But get organized.
Brilliant.
You know, in short, get organized, really.
One thing I've got to say though, venues trust the artist, give them the chance, because if we don't give them the chance to put on a night or whatever else, they're not going to be able to do it anyway. So venues, they need more venues available, whichever night it may be. It might be a start on a Monday, you might just try them out on a Monday, who knows, do you mean? Yeah,
and venues, if you don't know what you're doing, go get the promoters that do. And go old school, go pick them up that did it before. I mean, seriously, you know, it's not like, okay, you could get a job in a venue and you're starting to book bands. Great. Have you done it before? A lot of them have no experience. They're not musicians themselves. They don't really know what they're doing. And there's great promoters out there and organizers, or like I said, heads of bands and stuff of scenes who know what they're doing. Go get them and get them in. They'll pull the whole scene in for you. And trust your venue in these people's hands. You know. That is, I would say, because that opens the doors, and then the bands can come through and then allow bands to put on their own nights and do their own things and listen to them a bit more.
Brilliant.
That's what I'd say, you know.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
John Fossey.
Wicked.
Let's talk live with John Fossey and Mark-Anthony Abel.
My pleasure.
Much appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much, man.
Cheers, bro.